Hello you and welcome back to Scandinavian Design 101. I'm Sanna.
I'm Andreas and we're two Swedes and we love design. And we discuss furniture all the time on this channel and private as well.
Yeah.
And since we have a deep appreciation for chairs of all kinds, we tend to focus heavily on easy chairs, lounge chairs and of course sofas. However, furniture is obviously so much more than that. One category that often goes unnoticed is tables. In particular, coffee tables are for some reason somewhat overlooked when discussing mid-century furniture. And when they are being sold at auction, they tend to be relatively affordable. And there are often plenty in the thrift store, so in other words, finding a beautiful coffee table isn't challenging. And there are still numerous fantastic models available. And therefore, today, we've decided to dive into the topic of coffee tables. And we've selected 10 Swedish tables that we find intriguing. And they vary in price and style, but all represent mid-century design once mass-produced in Sweden.
You know what I was thinking? A coffee table book about coffee tables.
Yeah. I guess most of you recognize that reference.
But we wouldn't be true to ourselves if we didn't begin this video by exploring a bit of history. After all, we are an educational channel. And we always aim to share some new knowledge in each video.
Yeah.
Therefore, let's take a moment to dig into the history of coffee tables.
Yeah.
What exactly is a coffee table and when did they first appear? A coffee table is often described as a low table designed to be placed in a seating area, providing a convenient surface for small items like glasses, books, and remote controls, of course.
Yeah, books about coffee tables, perhaps.
Yep.
Yeah.
We understand that it's not so hard, but when did these tables start showing up in Western homes? According to the British design historian R.W. Simons, the first tables that can be classified as coffee tables emerged in England during the Victorian era in the mid-19th century. The tables weren't as low as the one we're accustomed to, and were probably more like cafe tables intended for domestic use.
Yeah. But soon, the tables became lower and lower and lower and eventually resembling what we now recognize as a coffee table. And during this period, the Anglo-Japanese style was in style in Europe. And since low tables were popular in Japan, they were sitting on the floor, so had no chairs, it's reasonable to assume that Asian tables served as inspiration for European furniture makers. And these early tables were often crafted in earlier styles like Rococo and Louis XVI. However, it's important to note that no such tables existed when these styles originally dominated the furniture market in the 18th century. And despite coffee tables having been around for some time, it wasn't until 1950s they gained widespread popularity among the general public. And during this era, television became an integral part of almost every home, influencing the way people arranged their living rooms. A low table in front of the couch became essential, and it needed to be low enough not to obstruct the view, even with cups and glasses on it.
Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah, really important.
Oh. And this was some words about the history of coffee tables. Now let's take a look at 10 Swedish tables we've chosen.
Yeah.
First out is the table, that's a tricky name, 579041.
Yeah.
Designed in 1954 at the drawing office of the Swedish department store Nordiska Kompaniet.
Yeah.
At the time, the office was led by the architect Yngve Sandström, who sometimes is attributed as the actual designer behind this table. Nowadays, it's sometimes wrongly attributed to the Danish couple Tove and Edvard Kind Larsen.
Yeah.
The stripy tabletop was made from birch and walnut, resting on solid birch legs. It was part of the Triva collection, a range of more youthful furniture, and the price tag was about $15 back then. A small version was also available, and the table in the pictures was sold by the auction house Stockholms Auktionsverk for $460.
Yeah, and I like this tabletop,
Yeah,
of course.
I think it's lovely. Love the stripy one. You never see that.
No, it's really unusual, and especially the profile of the short profile of the tabletop.
Not the long one.
No, that's just kind of boring. But it has a practical function too, because it's more surface to glue on when you put these pieces together.
So it's more stable.
So it won't be distorted or.
Would be nicer if it looked like that on the top as well.
Yeah, really nice it would be. But this is you rarely see this table, but it's really nice, and it's
really lovely. The legs could be more fun. Though.
Yeah, a bit more interesting, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe just the shape of them could be.
Yes, something
more.
At least like a walnut foot, or what do you call it?
That would be
down
enough.
by the floor.
Yeah, that would be enough.
Yeah,
but it's not.
Yeah, it's a nice table.
It's medium.
Yeah, medium interesting.
Yep.
And next out is this Rosewood table number 163, designed in 1963 by the Danish architect Ib Kofod Larsen for Säffle Möbelfabrik. And it's made from solid rosewood with a tabletop made from labradorite, a black and very decorative mineral with this almost metallic parts in it.
Yeah.
And it was also available in a less fancy sea stone version of this tabletop. It's kind of ugly. And back in the 60s, these stone tables were considered way too heavy and traditional by most critics, but nevertheless they were a popular choice among customers. And the table in the picture was sold for about $350 by Bukowski's.
How could this be traditional, though?
It doesn't look traditional at all. It's just the material, perhaps, that's traditional. Yeah, and still, Kärholm, for example, used stone for several of his tables and so on. So, I mean, it's not a traditional table. And I like the placement of the legs. They are like outside of the table.
Yeah, it's wider.
So that's a nice little feature that makes it a bit special.
That you see like the whole leg. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, that's nice, and also that the
top goes up.
Yeah, the top goes up above this frame. Yeah, that's really nice.
I do like it, but looks super heavy.
Yeah, it is really heavy. We sold a couple of these while working at the auction. Yeah, in Stockholm when we worked in the auction house there, and they were heavy and they are not nice to move around.
No.
But still, I mean, if you have a coffee table, normally you don't need to move it. So that's.
Well, is the stone like sensitive to fluids, if you like?
Yeah, you have red wine on it. I think it's not that sensitive for that, and it's actually a better choice than wood on a coffee table.
Or marble.
Marble is also kind of sensitive for stains.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, we like that.
Yeah.
And then we have the coffee table Krysset, the cross, designed in 1952 by Karl-Erik Exelius and produced by JOC in Vetlanda. Yeah. It was available with a tabletop made from teak or rosewood with black legs, and an all-oak version was also available. This model seems to have been a commercial success since it's often seen on auction and is in design stores today.
Yeah.
The table in this picture was sold for approximately $120.
Yeah, and this is not a favorite of mine, but it's still a kind of nice table from the.
Of course, it's nice
from the time, but it's nothing really special. I'm not sure if this is because I've seen several of these, or if it's. I mean, the model is somewhat of, it's really inspired by Hans J. Wegner and his tables, but this is like a cheap version of it.
And the tabletop is very uninspiring.
Extremely uninspiring.
Maybe we should combine this with the first one.
Yeah.
These legs.
Exactly, that's a great idea, because the tabletop looks like these IKEA tables from the 50s or something.
It's
So
not fun. It's not fun at all.
But Karl-Erik Exelius wasn't really a fun designer for most part.
Well,
not really.
So good for him that he did this at least.
Yeah, and good for him, it was a commercial success.
Yeah, very good for him.
Yeah. And now to the somewhat strange looking table A2, designed by Bengt Gullberg in 1952. And Bengt is, he is unknown for most people today, but his mother was a famous textile artist called Elsa Gullberg. Some of you have heard about her. Mm-hmm. And the A2 is a multifunctional table, since the metal base can be flipped over and turning this table into a dining table or a cafe table at least. Mm-hmm. And the shape of the base was obviously inspired by American designers like the Eameses, for example, and looks like few other Scandinavian tables at the time. Mm-hmm. And nowadays the model is sought after by collectors. And the table in the picture was sold for $750, and that was kind of a bargain, because they are sometimes sold for way more than that.
Okay. I do like this.
Yeah?
I think even though the top is very boring, I think it should be.
Yeah, it's suitable for this kind of table.
I think it is, actually.
And it really looks like something Harry Bertoia or Eames would design. Mm-hmm. And obviously it's beautiful as a coffee table. It's kind of ugly as a high table. And the reason is perhaps because the dimension, it's something off with them when it's
a bit flat,
that high.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty like this.
Yeah,
but I'm
really
not
nice.
a super fan of metal.
This tubular steel thing, but it's more fun, obviously, than just this hairpin straight legs. Yeah,
I think it's pretty.
Yeah,
it has something, but
definitely.
I don't think it's worth that much money.
No, not really.
No. Next is an elegant table called 745.
All these model numbers.
Launched by the small manufacturer Slutarp in 1954. I don't know the Slutarp.
No.
The designer behind this sculptural creation is sadly unknown. The table in the picture was sold for $270.
Yeah.
And that is more than reasonable.
Yeah.
For this frickin' table.
Yeah, both the legs and the tabletop is really nice.
I think it's like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it really is. It has these brass details and the sculptural shape of the legs.
Super pretty.
And then obviously both a great choice of wood and this inlays. So it's really nice.
I don't have anything bad to say about this.
No, nothing at
all. I don't.
No, just like it. Yeah.
Could say I love it.
Yeah, it's really wonderful.
It is. You should have bought it for me.
Yeah. And now, a table by the well-known designer Folke Olsson for Svenska Möbelfabrikerna in Bodafors, designed in 1960. The table model 3167 was a part of the Carmel range, and it was available in walnut, teak or oak. And compared with other similar tables, this was exclusive and in the upper price range. And guess that's why it never became a commercial success, and that's why it's rarely seen at auction today. And the table in the picture was sold for $270, just as the previous ones.
Yeah, and if you can choose between the two, you know which one to choose.
Yeah.
This one is boring.
Yeah, it's boring, but it has one interesting detail, I think, and that's the legs. Yes, it's the cross between the legs, the placement of it, that it's like in two levels.
I think it annoys me. I don't like it.
Okay, you would have preferred like ordinary cross there. Yeah. It's No.
I'm annoyed. But compared to coffee tables made today, of course it's pretty.
Yeah, of
I would
course.
rather have this.
Yeah, and I understand that it's kind of tricky to produce this table and it had to be expensive, but perhaps it was then too expensive so people didn't buy it. Because it's still a simple table, even though it's difficult to produce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing more to say about it.
No, not really.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Now another table with beautiful wooden inlays. Table 807, designed in 1955 by an unknown designer for the manufacturer Tranås Möbelfabrik.
Yeah.
The main wood used was walnut combined with several other exclusive materials. It is rarely seen on the secondhand market, of course, and the table in the picture was sold for about $450.
Yeah, and that's cheap. That's really cheap.
It is.
It's more like some kind of a artwork, abstract artwork, and it's typical for the 50s with these geometrical shapes.
Yes, it is.
And I like this oval shape.
Oh, I like it too.
Yeah.
I really like it. All the other one have been like
some kind of like corners, edge on them, and it's beautiful with a table without edges. You can't really hurt yourself on it either.
No, but it would be better.
Yeah,
as a large table.
Yeah,
in a dining room.
Yeah,
it kind of looks large on the picture.
Yeah, it looks like this large. You can have like 8 or 10 chairs around it, and then it will.
Wouldn't it be even prettier though with a central foot?
Yeah, it would.
Like a wide central, like tulip shape.
Tulip shape, yeah.
But in wood.
But in wood, yeah. And Carl-Erik Exelius have made this kind of central foot in wood, inspired by Eero Saarinen. And so this foot could have been used for this table.
Then it would have been a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, now it's like an 8 or 9. Yeah.
Truly. Super pretty.
And now to a real classic. The organic table F106, designed in 1965 by the Danish architect Johannes Andersen for the relatively unknown little manufacturer Nya Möbelfabriken in Sävsjö. It's really close to where we live.
Yep.
And I mean, very few people have heard about this Nya Möbelfabriken. It just means the new furniture factory.
Yep.
Yeah. And the customers could choose between teak and rosewood when buying this table, but it was only available in this large size. Andersen designed a couple of different tables for this manufacturer, and they were made to match his futuristic sofas produced by Trensum. And Trensum also used and sold these tables when they were on fairs and so on. And the table pictured here was sold for just under $1,000. And it's a nice table, but I'm not really sure what to think about it.
No,
because it's a sculptural form, and it's obviously really, it's fun. But still, is it really a good table? And I can't really decide.
No, me neither. And it is fun, but it's also kind of boring. I don't really know how to describe it, but...
No.
Why is it so wide and...
Yeah, I can't really understand. And
I don't like those drawers or whatever.
Yeah, there are drawers there. And they were made to match these banana-shaped sofas he made for Trensum. And the sofa was made to stand on the...
Banana
far side. The far side of the table. But still, this is not really perhaps his best table.
How do you use the drawers then? This is silly.
Yeah, and what do you have in these like small drawers there?
The remote control.
Yeah, but there were no remote controls back then.
I would have the remote control.
You could have like a board game or something there perhaps back then, but it seems kind of boring. Cigarettes, yeah. You can have your cigarettes and your lighter there. Yeah.
That's what you can have.
So still, it's a classic table, but not a table I would choose.
No.
But
it's not horrible.
No, it's definitely not horrible.
No. That's good for him. Moving on. 2. Yngve Ekström designed this leaf-shaped table called Rhythm.
Yeah, rytm. Yeah.
In 1954. Westbergs Möbler. It was made from East Indian rosewood and was available in 2 different sizes. The larger version seen here was sold for just over $500.
Yeah. And I really like this table. It's one of my favorite tables made in Sweden.
Really?
Yeah. And I think the best thing with it is the 3-dimensional shape all over. I mean, it's not a flat tabletop, but it's still almost flat, so you can use it, of course, with the glasses and so on. But the but the edges goes up,
so
and
it looks like a leaf.
Yeah, so it's just this organic leaf.
Yeah, very
and
pretty.
Yngve Ekström did wooden sculptures early in his career, and he did like leaves and so on in wood. So I think that's why he made this kind of really, really nice and sculptural tabletop. And you can see it's also thicker, for example, on the edges.
Yes.
So it's really nice,
It is super pretty.
It also inspired IKEA, for example, when designing this lövet, the leaf of Lövbacken.
Nowadays,
It's called Lövbacken today, but lövet, yes.
Back then, yeah?
Yeah.
Or I don't really know.
No.
But of course it is, and that's a shame.
Yeah, but otherwise it's also interesting that the man behind the Lamino, a kind of modernistic chair with not very romantic shapes, designed this really organic and sculptural and almost cabinet maker looking table.
Yeah,
so,
it is super pretty.
Yeah,
it really
it's
is.
really nice.
It really truly is. But the legs could have been a little more elegant.
Yeah, perhaps
Down
to
at
match
the
this tabletop. Yeah,
That's my only criticism.
yeah, but still nice table.
8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
You think 10 out of 10?
No, yeah, it's. I really like
You have to
this
stand
one.
up for yourself.
Yeah,
on the
10
table.
out of 10 out of 10. And finally, we have table 161, launched by Emmaboda Möbelfabrik in 1959. And the sled-shaped legs gives this table a distinctive silhouette, similar to several Danish tables of the time. And it's often misattributed to different famous designers, but was actually designed by someone called O. Karlsson, an in-house designer at the company. And he also designed like a flexible combined dining and coffee table for this company. And that's really ugly, but this is a great table.
It is.
And this table was sold for $260 recently on auction.
Very reasonable.
Yeah.
These legs I love.
Yeah, they are really nice.
Yeah.
And a nice little feature here is that we have a bow-shaped bottom piece on each legs. So otherwise, if it just had been this straight piece of wood there, it would have been difficult to place it if the floor hadn't been completely straight. But here it's almost like if you have 4 separate legs, because only four small areas actually touches the floor.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's a nice feature, and also these edges of the tabletop. It's also really beautiful.
Super pretty.
So
And
this,
I do love that the legs go wider.
yeah, that's
to the
also
top.
really nice.
Really pretty.
So this guy called O. Karlsson really
Good
did
for you.
really did a
Good for
nice
you.
table. Sadly, he's never mentioned.
Wonder
when
what his name was.
Yeah,
Olle, Olof,
Olov, something like that.
Lätt.
Orvar.
Nej.
Perhaps not.
Maybe.
Yeah, but this is actually one of the best tables today, I think,
I think they were all good.
in their own way.
Yeah.
Perhaps not the Exelius table. It's just nice, but not more. Yeah, and this was 10 tables produced in Sweden.
And some history.
Yeah, and some history about coffee tables. Yeah, we can talk about history of everything. But Do you have another favorite among Swedish coffee tables?
Yeah.
Perhaps you have. And if you have, you should really tell us in the comments below.
You should.
Yeah.
No, you should. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you.